Welcome to Work in Bitcoin, the career podcast by Bitvocation. We share tips and peer stories to help you find your place in the Bitcoin ecosystem. Today, we're doing a deep dive into the really interesting journey of Philip Charter.
That's right. He made quite the leap, didn't he? From a more traditional career path?
Exactly. To becoming a freelance writer, specifically in the Bitcoin space. A successful one at that.
And we've got some great insights from his story, his advice.
Which, honestly, should be super valuable if you've ever thought about, making a similar kind of move yourselves.
Definitely. And it's probably worth saying up front, the sources we looked at, they're pretty positive about the outlook for Bitcoin service providers heading into 2025.
Yeah, good point. So our mission today really is to give you a clear roadmap, maybe a shortcut even.
A shortcut to understanding how you could potentially find your own place in the Bitcoin job market.
And hopefully it'll be packed with some surprising facts and moments you can relate to.
So Philip's story, what's really compelling is that it wasn't like a straight line into Bitcoin.
No, not at all.
He brings this wealth of experience from, outside the usual tech or finance world.
Right.
He actually stepped away from a marketing job way back in 2011
Okay.
and then spent a good while teaching English all over really Latin America, Asia, Europe.
Wow. And during that time, he was writing too.
Yeah, honing his skills, blogging, fiction. He even published a book in 2018.
Impressive.
Then later, he got into coaching multilingual writers, and that's actually how the Bitcoin thing started.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, one of his coaching clients was writing a book about Bitcoin, so Philip had to learn a lot about it to help effectively.
Okay. So that was the catalyst.
Exactly. And this kind of highlights something we see quite a bit, people from really diverse backgrounds finding their niche in Bitcoin, not just finance or tech folk.
Yeah, bringing different skills, different perspectives.
Which often fill some really crucial gaps.
Yeah. So let's just unpack that timeline a bit. It wasn't an instant switch, was it?
No, definitely not.
He bumped into Bitcoin through his coaching work, and then, what was it, about 2 years?
Yeah, around 2 years, according to the source. 2 years of learning before he really fully transitioned into the Bitcoin sphere professionally.
Right. And initially, he was doing more editing, book projects with Consensus Network.
That's right. Editing, book stuff first. But then he kind of gravitated back towards his main passion, which is writing.
And what's really fascinating is how skills he picked up elsewhere, things that seem unrelated, turned out to be super relevant for Bitcoin companies. Marketing, copywriting.
Even building websites, managing CRMs.
Exactly. All that stuff became a real asset. So maybe he wasn't like a deep protocol expert from day one.
Right.
But knowing how to manage customer relationships, for instance, that's
Yeah.
huge for Bitcoin startups trying to grow.
Totally. And that connects to the bigger picture, doesn't it? Philip's experience really underlines this key point. Your existing skills, they're probably way more transferable to Bitcoin than you might think.
So what's he up to now, specifically?
Well, he's doing ghostwriting for Bitcoin company founders, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
He runs this really interesting fiction project called 21 Futures.
Okay.
And he's still involved in editing and marketing Bitcoin books, so a pretty diverse portfolio.
Built right on that foundation of his past experiences.
Precisely. And the source we mentioned earlier, it points to things like more institutional adoption, more Bitcoin startups.
Which means more demand for these kinds of services, right?
Yeah.
Writing, marketing, community stuff.
Exactly. Higher demand.
And I love how he brands himself totally human writer. I think that's just brilliant.
It is, isn't it? It speaks volumes.
He's all about creating content that connects with people, like on a human level. He even used this funny analogy. Something about a baby pineapple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Writing shotgun with Michael Saylor, something AI would just never come up with.
Huh. Right. His point being that Bitcoin companies, educators, they need that authentic human voice. Less jargon, more relatable stories and opinions.
And this really brings up an important point about the landscape right now. Maybe the traditional job boards aren't exactly overflowing with Bitcoin roles just yet.
Maybe not explicitly labeled.
Right. But Philip's journey, it strongly suggests there's this real demand for service providers, people who can communicate well, build genuine connections.
That totally human thing again.
Yeah.
It points to this need for authenticity, for trust, which is so vital in a space like Bitcoin that can feel complex, maybe a bit new for many.
Absolutely crucial. And while, yeah, some roles need deep tech knowledge, there's this growing need for people with strong communication, business skills, people who can bridge that gap between the tech and, wider understanding.
Okay, so Philip isn't just sharing his story. He's actually got some really practical advice, like 10 specific tips for anyone thinking about this path.
Yeah, he laid them out pretty clearly.
Let's get into those. First one, don't wait.
Mm-hmm. A sense of urgency.
Yeah, he really hammers this home. It almost sounds like the advice for buying Bitcoin itself, you know? The best time is now.
Right. Don't put it off until next year.
Get your stuff together. Start putting yourself out there now. What kind of areas in Bitcoin do you think benefit most from getting in early right now?
Well, that urgency probably reflects just how fast things are moving. You know, new projects, new companies popping up all the time. Getting in early lets you learn and grow with them. It's a unique chance.
Makes sense. Okay, tip number 2, back yourself.
Ah, confidence. Important.
Yeah, he really emphasizes how transferable those soft skills are. Creativity, collaboration, communication, critical thinking.
The fundamentals.
Exactly. He points out quite rightly that these aren't tied to just one industry. You can learn the Bitcoin specifics on the job. It's about having faith in the value you already bring.
That's a really empowering message, isn't it?
Totally. It's just the focus. You don't need to be a tech guru on day one. Your core skills, the ones many people already have, are valuable.
Absolutely. People often underestimate those foundational skills, but they're essential for, well, everything. Communicating, solving problems, building relationships. It applies just as much in Bitcoin.
Okay, tip 3 is develop a persona. Get your face out there.
Be visible.
Right. Be public-facing. Share your views, your experiences. He suggests putting your personality into your online profiles, GitHub, your website, LinkedIn, X, even Nostr.
For those who don't know, GitHub is mostly for developers collaborating on code, and Nostr is like a newer, more decentralized social media thing that's popular in the Bitcoin crowd.
Yeah, good clarification. The main idea is show up where Bitcoiners hang out. Build that presence.
It's all about visibility, right?
Yeah.
And building community connections. Share your thoughts, join discussions, show who you are. It's not just about showing knowledge, it's about making those connections that lead to opportunities.
Which leads nicely into the next one. Network like crazy.
Uh-huh. Career
She says a lot of opportunities just aren't advertised publicly. Many hires come through relationships.
word of mouth, personal connections.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his advice is
Yeah.
find people you admire, people you want to learn from, engage with their stuff online, support their posts.
Don't just lurk.
Right. Maybe send a thoughtful DM, and definitely attend conferences.
Oh, yeah, conferences are huge.
He even says have a short pitch ready and your contact info easily shareable.
That emphasis on in-person networking, especially conferences, is key. Online is good, but face-to-face. That often builds stronger bonds, leads to more direct opportunities.
Totally agree. Attending conferences lets you have those, serendipitous chats, deeper conversations that are just harder online.
And having a clear, quick way to say who you are and what you're looking for, essential in that setting.
Okay, tip 5. Simple but powerful. Say yes.
Just jump in.
Yeah. Take on Bitcoin projects even if you feel a bit out of your depth at first.
Learn by doing.
Exactly. His thinking is, even if it's not a roaring success, the learning you get will be invaluable later on.
That really speaks to having a growth mindset, doesn't it? Embrace the challenge, step outside the comfort zone, you learn faster, show you're willing to contribute.
And that willingness, that initiative, is super valued in a field like Bitcoin that's changing so fast.
Definitely. It shows you're proactive.
Number 6, keep learning.
Nonstop.
He actually suggests dedicating like 3 hours a week,
Yeah.
actively improving skills, staying updated. He points out that in a lot of traditional jobs, people can get complacent. So continuous learning gives you a real edge.
In Bitcoin, it's not just an edge. It's almost essential, isn't it, to stay relevant?
Yeah, absolutely. It moves so fast. Staying curious, committed to learning, that's crucial for sticking around long term.
Couldn't agree more.
Okay, tip 7. Fail, adjust, improve, repeat.
Embrace the failures.
Yeah, don't see failure as a dead end. See it as data, a learning opportunity. He talks about his own experiences, rejections, business challenges.
Using them as fuel.
Exactly. Stepping stones for growth. That resilience, that adaptability, vital anywhere, but especially in a new industry where you're constantly trying things out.
Viewing failures as learning moments, that's a classic trait of successful people, period. It lets you constantly get more.
Number 8 is build your proof of work.
Show, don't just tell.
Right? Have a portfolio. Make it look good, visually appealing. Showcase projects you've completed. Highlight the positive results. Use numbers where you can.
It's about demonstrating your actual value. Not just listing tasks you did, but showing the impact of your work.
Makes a huge difference. A strong portfolio is concrete proof, much more compelling than just saying, I have X skill.
Way more compelling.
Tip number 9, keep it short.
Get to the point.
Yes. Be direct, be concise. Introductions, cover letters, focus on what you offer, how you can help them. Cut the fluff, the cliches.
Respect people's time. It shows professionalism and that you understand their needs, especially in a fast-moving space like Bitcoin.
Brevity and clarity are definitely appreciated.
Highly valued.
And finally, tip number 10. Keep detailed notes.
Stay organized.
Yeah, track everything, your communications, applications you sent out, and follow up. Consistently follow up with contacts.
That kind of organization, that follow-through, it shows you're professional, serious, genuinely interested in building those connections. Helps you stay top of mind.
Absolutely. Now, Philip also threw in a bonus tip,
Oh, yeah.
and it's pretty relevant for you listening right now.
Yeah.
Stay informed about the Bitcoin job market using resources like Bitvocation.
Ah, nice shout out.
He actually said he wished Bitvocation had been around when he was starting. He mentioned the helpful articles, conference discounts, the job feed.
Which is really comprehensive.
And he also made a point of saying the Bitvocation team are true Bitcoiners,
Yeah.
genuinely dedicated to helping people find their way in this space.
That bonus tip really underlines the value of community, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And having good resources. A platform that pulls together opportunities and guidance, that's a big help.
Huge advantage when you're navigating something new. Saves a ton of time and effort.
No doubt.
So if Philip's story, his journey, and these tips have got you thinking, we definitely encourage you, go read his full story. It's over on bitvocation.com.
Good read.
And while you're there, you can download their free guide. It's called How to Find Your First Job in Bitcoin. Also right there on the website.
Very useful guide.
And one more thing, if you want those job updates coming straight to you, follow their job feed on Telegram. The handle is @BitvocationFeed.
Easy way to stay in the loop.
Yeah. Look, it's pretty clear from Philip's experience and just the general positive vibe around Bitcoin services right now. There are real exciting opportunities opening up.
Definitely feels that way.
So we really encourage you to explore what might be the right fit for you in this space.
Thank you for listening.
And just to leave you with something to chew on, inspired by Philip's path, if you've already put in the work to understand Bitcoin, maybe you've been learning for a while now, what are the actual concrete steps you could take, maybe even this week, to start exploring what working in this ecosystem might look like for you?